Everything Australian politicians do is to maintain their own power and control over our society, profit themselves and the 5% richest people in the nation, and waste tax money, government imposed economic fees and fines to destroy our rights, even kill us, as they have killed off thousands of poor people in our nation in lots of ways: homelessness, jailing people for nothing, and psychiatric practice, and driving people to suicide. Absolutely disgusting. And I will prove it to you, Western Australia, that they're engaged in a massive extortion racket, basically stealing and extortion, and the violence that they've engaged against me is horrific. Parking fees. That's how it all started. They destroyed my life over parking fees. Michael Mischin claims that the people in Western Australia owe $248.5 million from 719,735 unpaid fines. The government is lying about that, and I'm going to prove it to you right now. All they're doing is stealing and extorting from the West Australian people. So that's Michael Mischin, Liberal Attorney General. Well, for me, starting from parking fees, they reckon I owe them $9,346.90, which is a big fat lie, because this is what they're doing. They are marking up 530%. They are marking up the original fine. First fine is $50. Everybody's received one of those before. So they start with a $50 parking fine, then they go to $63.50, then they go to $118, and then the final figure on the schedule that I got from the Sheriff's Office, which they're just using to steal from the people, from the public, and extort. The final fine is $280. So it goes from the initial fine of $50 to $280, which is a markup of 530%. So they claim that the people of Western Australia owe $248 million. They're lying to the public about that. They've engaged a massive amount of violence against me. They probably have spent about $30 million since 2008 destroying my life. For nothing, for absolutely nothing, for having a voice, for political and economic reasons. Well, it started when I was a teacher. They wasted millions of dollars trying to destroy my life. 22 workers in the Department of Education tried to destroy my character and integrity. And you've got the head of the CCC, Mike Silverstone, covering up all of their corruption in the Education Department. The CCC again, the fact that the government is killing my brother, poisoning him with chemical compounds, and they've stolen all of his money as well. They're covering that up. Then you've got judges in the Supreme Court making it 6 versus 1 against me over political signage, which originated in the Magistrates' Court, so that's where your rate money is going, being used by councils to employ law firms to go to the judiciary and destroy your property rights and every one of your human rights. And there's a massive amount of corruption associated with that. So that's over political signage. Then you've got judges in the Supreme Court making it 6 versus 1, invited every Attorney General around the nation to intervene in my Supreme Court appeal over political signage. That's the 29th of January 2013. And evidence that Michael Mischin, Liberal Attorney General, wasted millions of dollars of tax money intervening in my Supreme Court hearing over political signage. 14th of February 2013 from the State Solicitor's Office. The Attorney General for the State of Western Australia intends to intervene in the matter to assist the court. So they intervened. The State Solicitor's Office was involved. Michael Mischin intervened. There's one of the submissions they filed. Wasted millions of dollars of tax money. And the submission was written by the Solicitor General G.R. Donaldson, but it's Michael Mischin who made the decision to intervene. All the other Attorney Generals around the country did not intervene, only Michael Mischin wasted millions of dollars of tax money. Furthermore, at exactly the same time in the Supreme Court, the head of the Supreme Court, Wayne Martin, and a second judge, Kenneth Martin, gave a political signage injunction to Liberal politicians and candidates. Exactly the same time that the judge, my judge, Judge Hall, made it 6-1, and Michael Mischin, Liberal Party Attorney General, intervened exactly the same time that he and his party got a political signage injunction from the head of the Supreme Court at that time, when they were destroying my rights, wasting millions of dollars over exactly the same matter, political signage. So I caught them red-handed in their corruption. Then, since then, because of these so-called, the extortion that they're engaging over parking fees, which is 100%, everything that the government has done to me, 100% is their own fault. Everything, the cause of what they've done to me is 100% the fault and guilt of the government. They have destroyed my driver's license, they destroyed my bus license, they destroyed my car registration, they ripped the plates off my car, they have engaged massive violence against me, trespassing on my property, clamping my car on my property after they trespassed on my property, Nazi government clamp. Then 7 police officers come to my home and assault me at the front of the house. 2 of them did it and 5 of them stood there and watched. They grabbed my left arm, ripped it up behind my back and until I was crying, and then they had thrown me on the ground face first while they got on the back of me and did it. Engaging massive violence for nothing, over money, over their extortion racket, which I've just proven that they marked up 530%. This is Liberal and Labor politicians. Colin Barnett, Michael Mischin, Mark McGowan, I don't care what party they're from, they're all evil, they're violent, they're corrupt, they're dishonest, they steal, they kill, they destroy your life for nothing, for money, for power, money and corruption. And all the judges and magistrates in this state are also guilty as well. I filed 4 submissions with the Magistrates Court. The magistrates in the Fremantle Magistrates Court are violent, supporting violence against me. They do not follow human rights legislation applicable to Australian law, international laws under the International Covenant of Civil Political Rights, about 45 articles applicable to Australia under the Human Rights and Equal Opportunity Commission Act of 1986 that they refuse to uphold for Australian-born citizens. That's all the judges and all the magistrates, including in the High Court. There's a medical report about my arm. My arm is permanently damaged now. My left elbow, every day I have to endure pain in my left elbow, is damaged. They have destroyed my ability to work. They have destroyed my ability to teach in Western Australia, even though I'm registered to teach still. I've got the police assaulting me, trying to jail me over their pathetic, evil government Nazi clamp, metal clamp worth nothing. Because human life is worth nothing to you. You will destroy human life for money and power and greed and corruption. And all the magistrates in the Fremantle Magistrates Court, you're also guilty. Also guilty is the workers in the Triple C, David Robertson, Assistant Director of Corruption Prevention. 6-page report from the Triple C full of lies and garbage, supporting violence against me. RDB, Acting Superintendent Office of the Metropolitan Regional Coordinator, Police, supporting violence against me for nothing, over money, over your extortion. And the 7 Nazi police officers that came to my home with a Nazi illegal warrant, blacked out names. There is no law in Western Australia that allows this. There is no law in Australia that allows it at all. You cannot come onto people's property with a so-called warrant with the names blacked out. There is no law that allows you to do that. And the magistrates in the Fremantle Magistrate Court completely ignoring the fact that when I have outlined in my submissions that they came onto my property illegally with a Nazi warrant, which is illegal, and violently assaulted me as well. I was thrown in jail for one night. Again, I was assaulted in jail, stripped, naked and searched, and it's disgusting. And over your extortion of parking fees. What else? The magistrate in the Magistrates Court who presided over a hearing on the 31st of March 2014, when I had gone to the hospital, driven myself to the hospital to get my arm checked out because of the violence against me, he did nothing. The magistrate did nothing. A violent magistrate. And what he did is he fined me $1,000.94 for nothing. Because all they're doing is adding economic costs. The magistrates are doing it. They're using the sheriff's office to do it. They're using the sheriff's office to raise revenue and extort from the public. They're using the sheriff's office to raise revenue, using violence to extort money out of people and steal. They're using Landgate for the same purpose, because you put an economic memorial over my home, for your extortion. For I just proved to you that you've marked it up 530%. The sheriff's office should be shut down. All the magistrates' courts in Australia should be shut down. The politicians are using the magistrates' courts, and they've been doing it for decades, to jail the poorest people and most vulnerable people in our nation for nothing. Jailing them for nothing or minor reasons. And what you've done to the Aboriginal people in this country and poor people is nothing short of genocidal. You are using the magistrates' court to jail people for nothing, and you're using the magistrates' court like a bank to raise revenue, ruthlessly, using violence to do it. So you're all violent. And you should all be jailed. And 80% of the people in the jails in our nation should be released because they're poor people there for nothing. And it's a way that you use. You are obsessed with jailing people, and you're obsessed with fining people, and you're obsessed with using the police to be violent against people in Australia. And that's all you're doing it for power, for money, and for greed. And then we've got extortion going on over properties, councils extorting me $1,400 a year over a vacant block of land for nothing. What do you need $1,400 a year for a vacant block of land? Nothing. And then the government comes onto my property, I get harassed, I get threatened, I get intimidated, I get violence against me. I've had 4 visits from the politicians' Gestapo. They've got their own police protection unit. They call it the Dignitary Protection Unit. What a joke. It's not a Dignitary Protection Unit. It's your Nazi Gestapo unit. There it is. There's a card. 2 of them. There's one name, there's one on the back. 4 times you've come to my home. 4 times. To threaten me, to harass me, to intimidate me. When I'm not here, the police walk through my home. They've done that several times. Australians have no rights under the Constitution, no rights in the courts, no lawyers. No, it's all government, government, government. Politicians, judges, magistrates, sheriff's office, Landgate, police. You're violent. That's what you are. Corrupt, greedy, dishonest, selfish, violent, stealing, killing, destroying. You're all going to end up in hell. And it's not over yet, is it? Because you're trying to drag me before the court in August, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to an international court, or the High Court, and I'm going to file an action against the state of Western Australia for violence against me. All the politicians, all the judges, all the magistrates and the police, government violence. And I'll go to the International Court of Justice in The Hague, in the Netherlands, in Europe. And I'll file a multi-million-dollar action against the state of Western Australia for your violence against me and your corruption and your extorting for nothing. Destroying my life for nothing. Because you want to engage.